In 2025, Canada found itself at the center of a new and escalating trade conflict. The Trump administration, returning to power, unleashed a fresh wave of protectionist policies, imposing sweeping tariffs, 54% on Chinese goods, 20% on EU imports, and, crucially, targeted duties on Canadian exports. These measures sent shockwaves through the global trading system, but for Canada, the impact was immediate and deeply personal. Suddenly, decades of cross-border cooperation and economic integration were under threat, and the rules of engagement had changed overnight. Lumber, a backbone of Canada's economy and a symbol of its natural wealth, was hit especially hard. Tariffs soared up to 45%, putting thousands of jobs at risk, and threatening the survival of entire communities that depend on forestry. Small towns, already struggling with economic uncertainty, now faced the prospect of mill closures and rising unemployment, as the cost of doing business with their largest trading partner skyrocketed. Manufactured goods like kitchen cabinets and furniture, once staples of North American trade, were also swept up in the dispute. Canadian factories, many of them family-run for generations, suddenly found their products priced out of the U.S. market. The foundation of North American trade, built on decades of trust and collaboration, was now shaken to its core. The U.S. justified these aggressive measures by citing concerns over fentanyl trafficking, claiming the border needed to be tightened. However, data revealed that less than 1% of fentanyl seizures actually occurred at the Canadian border, casting serious doubt on the real motive behind the tariffs. Many saw this as a convenient excuse for a broader political agenda. In Ottawa, the mood was tense. The government viewed the tariffs as politically motivated, a direct challenge to Canada's reputation as a fair trading partner. Leaders faced a difficult balancing act. Should they protect vital industries with strong countermeasures, or try to preserve the crucial relationship with the U.S., even as trust eroded? Canada responded with its own set of counter-tariffs, hoping to pressure Washington back to the negotiating table. But as the trade war dragged on, it became clear that simply reacting wasn't enough. The stakes were too high, and the old playbook no longer worked. The crisis demanded a bold new vision, one that would push Canada to diversify its partnerships, seek new markets, and redefine its role on the world stage. For Canada, this was more than a trade dispute. It was the beginning of a new era, filled with both uncertainty and opportunity. Confronted with U.S. unpredictability, Canada accelerated its pivot to Asia, seeking to reduce reliance on a single market. The CPTPP became central, giving Canadian exporters access to over 500 million consumers in Japan, Australia, Vietnam, and Singapore. Canadian farmers and tech firms found new opportunities, from Alberta beef in Vietnam to AI partnerships in Singapore. Canada also fast-tracked talks with India and ASEAN, aiming for modern agreements covering digital trade and environmental standards. New trade offices opened across Asia, helping businesses navigate local markets. By late 2025, exports to Asia surged, offsetting U.S. losses and building a more balanced, resilient economy. This wasn't just about new customers, it was about future-proofing Canada's prosperity. Simultaneously, Canada deepened its partnership with the European Union, forging closer diplomatic and economic ties that would shape the future of transatlantic cooperation. This renewed focus on Europe reflected a strategic shift, as Canada recognized the importance of working with partners who shared its values and vision for a stable, rules-based international order. Leveraging the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, or CETA, Canada gained unprecedented access to the world's largest single market. This agreement not only reduced tariffs but also opened doors for Canadian businesses to expand, innovate, and compete on a global scale. As both Canada and the EU faced mounting pressure from U.S. tariffs and shifting global dynamics, their alliance grew stronger. United by a shared commitment to open markets, democratic values, and multilateralism, they stood together to defend the principles of fair trade. Together, they defended the World Trade Organization, coordinated responses to global trade challenges, and advocated for reforms to strengthen the international trading system. Canadian small and medium-sized enterprises found new opportunities in Europe, from fresh Atlantic seafood landing in European markets to advanced aerospace components powering innovation. Entrepreneurs and exporters across Canada benefited from this expanded access. Meanwhile, professionals enjoyed easier labor mobility, allowing Canadian talent to work, collaborate, and share expertise across European borders, enriching both economies. Joint initiatives on clean technology, digital standards, and innovation expanded the partnership well beyond traditional trade, fostering collaboration on climate action and the digital economy. This collaboration provided a crucial economic cushion during uncertain times and reinforced Canada's reputation as a steadfast defender of the global economic order, committed to prosperity and stability. The Canada-EU relationship evolved into a comprehensive strategic alliance, encompassing trade, security, innovation, and shared values. In a fragmented world, Canada proved it could build robust, forward-looking ties with like-minded partners, ensuring its voice remained strong on the global stage. At home, Canada took decisive steps to strengthen its economy amid U.S. tariffs and job losses. The Bank of Canada cut interest rates, boosting spending and investment. Targeted support helped lumber and manufacturing sectors modernize and find new markets, while infrastructure upgrades improved trade flows to Asia and Europe. The government invested in innovation, AI, biotech, clean energy, and workforce retraining, preparing Canadians for the jobs of tomorrow. These measures weren't bailouts, but strategic investments in long-term competitiveness. Despite challenges, the Canadian stock market outperformed global peers, signaling investor confidence. The crisis forced a national reassessment, leading to a more diversified, innovative economy. Canada wasn't just weathering the storm, it was charting a new course. The Trump tariffs sparked deep divisions in the U.S., even within the Republican Party. Senator Susan Collins of Maine broke ranks, opposing the tariffs and highlighting the economic ties between her state and Canada. She warned that tariffs threatened industries and essential supplies, echoing concerns across border communities. American businesses reliant on Canadian materials, especially in construction, voiced alarm over rising costs. California's rebuilding efforts after wildfires were hampered by higher lumber prices, illustrating the tariffs' unintended consequences. Critics argued the policy ignored the integrated nature of North American supply chains, hurting U.S. workers and consumers. The growing dissent revealed a disconnect between protectionist rhetoric and economic reality. The backlash underscored how deeply intertwined the U.S. and Canadian economies truly are. The boldest U.S. challenge to federal tariffs came from California, a state known for its independent spirit and economic power. Governor Gavin Newsom declared the state would pursue its own trade agreements, firmly rejecting Washington's protectionism and signaling a new direction. As the world's fifth-largest economy, California's move carried global weight, reassuring partners like Canada and other international allies. Newsom's stance positioned him as a national leader for free trade and international cooperation, inspiring other states to consider similar actions. For Canada, California's defiance offered stability and preserved vital economic links in tech, agriculture, and energy, ensuring continued collaboration. The move created a powerful subnational alliance, showing the U.S.-Canada relationship was more than just federal politics or official treaties. California's rebellion became a rallying point for Americans opposed to the America for Narga First Agenda Herberjan, energizing grassroots movements. It proved that cross-border ties could endure and even thrive, even in turbulent times. The U.S. trade crisis marked a pivotal moment in Canada's history, forcing the nation to rethink its economic strategy and chart a new course for the future. Faced with uncertainty and disruption, Canadian leaders recognized the urgent need to diversify trade relationships and reduce reliance on a single partner. This shift in mindset set the stage for a transformation that would ultimately reshape Canada's economic destiny and global role. By forging stronger ties with Asia and Europe, Canada built a robust and resilient trade network that now shields it from future shocks. These new partnerships open doors to emerging markets, advanced technologies, and fresh opportunities for Canadian businesses to grow and compete internationally. Today, Canadian exporters benefit from access to a diverse range of markets, which has spurred innovation, increased productivity, and enhanced global competitiveness. This broader reach has allowed Canadian industries to adapt quickly to changing global demands. The crisis compelled businesses of all sizes to look beyond the U.S., unlocking new opportunities and fostering a spirit of adaptability and entrepreneurship across the country. Canadian companies became more agile, creative, and outward-looking than ever before. Canada's bold response elevated its global standing, positioning the country as a champion of multilateralism, free trade, and international cooperation. This leadership has earned Canada new respect and influence on the world stage. By taking a leading role in the CPTPP and defending the principles of the WTO, Canada demonstrated its commitment to fair and open trade, further solidifying its reputation as a trusted global partner. The 2025 dispute will be remembered not for the harm it caused, but for the resilience, unity, and foresight it inspired among Canadians. It became a catalyst for positive change and national renewal. In the end, Canada emerged stronger, more sovereign, and better prepared to thrive in a rapidly changing global economy, confident in its place on the world stage and optimistic about the future.